everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B. Today, I am honored, thrilled, and I feel so privileged to have with us here Ellen Goldberg. She is an internationally renowned teacher of palmistry and tarot. She has been the founder and director of the School of the Oracles. She has been on the faculty of the Open Center in New York City for many, many years. And she's actually a psychotherapist who has seen clients for well over 30 years in New York. Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much for coming today. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here also, Marisa. This is a real pleasure. And I love to talk about these things and bring them to the attention of people who may not have them so much in their consciousness, but who will benefit from knowing about them.
Well, I find that the subject is fascinating. And I know that you're working on a book on tarot, and I personally purchased your book on palmistry, but I find it so thrilling because it's science as well.
Yes,
as mystical. Can you tell me a little bit about the book? First of all, I have to apologize because I do own the book, but I don't have it present. But if you can show
the book,
a copy of the book.
15 copies of the book, and always have it. It's a large, oversized hardcover from a very fine publishing house, Inner Traditions, who did a beautiful job. In fact, the front of the illustration is by Alex Gray, a very fine artist.
Yes. He's in the Hudson Valley. Yes, he's in the Hudson Valley, the artist. Yes.
I met him one day and said, me and Dorian Bergen is my book partner, and we said, "Oh, Alex, will you do the cover of our book?" And he said, "Well, what do you want? One hand or two?" And he was just so...
He's a marvelous artist. Yes, marvelous
artist. And so I feel very good about the book. Well, I wrote it specifically so that people could learn to read their own hands and also the hands of other people. If you can read yours, you can read other people. Of course, there is a lot to learn. And here in this book, I've got, we're looking at about 520 pages worth of...
It's like the definitive book. That's how I see it. It's the definitive book. I mean, I know there are others out there, but it's the definitive book.
The definitive book that was my learning book was written in 1900. That is the other definitive book. It's called The Laws of Scientific Handreading, and it is by William Benham. And I read Benham 5 times, and he's like this. And in that sort of more Victorian language and things like that. But there was gold there. And so in some ways, I say in my book, in the introduction, that this is the great-grandchild of William Benham.
Lovely.
You know? And I come from that lineage, and I've added extra things like astrology and mythology, but there's so much that Benham had, and because of his language and the maybe the Victorian attitude, he never once mentions women or sex, you know. You know, if you're writing your book in 1880 or...
Right, the sign of the times.
The sign of the times. So I have helped that along as my service and put in other things that make the subject richer and translate it into easy to read, flowing language. And
now, can you tell me a little bit about palmistry? I mean, I know we could talk volumes on it. There are courses offered. You offer courses, but for the allotted time, just a little bit about palmistry.
For instance, everything in this world speaks to us. The world is filled with communication. I remember reading once a line by chance in a Hermetic text that said, "Not a pin drops, but its reverberation is felt on the furthest star." And that's, we feel that, first I thought this was many years ago, really? And then I learned about string theory. You know, in physics, everything's connected. We're surrounded by these invisible forces and they connect us to everything else. And I thought, those old occultists had it right.
Yes.
And I say this because just like Pythagoras said, amazing, everything is intelligent. I also think amazing, everything is communicating. And the hand, the body, the inner self wants to let us know what's going on with us so that we can know ourselves better, right? What were the words carved over the entrance to the oracle at Delphi in ancient times, where even emperors made pilgrimages to consult? The words over the entrance were, know thyself. And so the hand is the most exquisite tool for self-reflection. There are more nerves between the hand and the brain than any other part of the nervous system except the heart. The heart really, of course, gets major. And next is the hand. And everything that we think, everything that we feel, you notice in yourself, everybody notices that we have a subtle chemistry that is influenced instantly. Like you have a fear thought, you might not even be something based on reality. It could be the shadow of a plastic bag caught in a tree at night. And you, what's that? You're walking home. Instantly, the adrenaline starts to pump in the body. And it is like that for everything we feel, only even if it's on a subtle level. Every thought, every feeling also has these chemistry. And when these are released, the subtle influences come right down to the hands. And in time, they write, it is the mind that writes the lines. The repeated thoughts, the repeated feelings, the repeated actions, they influence the shapes, the lines. And of course, only one hand changes, the dominant one. The recessive hand, and for each person, whether it's right or left, the recessive hand keeps the more of the original imprint. It keeps the pattern given at birth. So it might change a little bit or very slowly, so slowly that we don't bother checking it. It's the dominant hand that changes every time you change, if the change is authentic. And you can't fool the subconscious. It knows. But if there's an authentic change, you will see the hand change. Sometimes I know it's not like this, but it almost seems like you could see a change in front of your eyes because it changes quickly. And sometimes in a day or a week.
It's like a map, in other words. I mean, scientifically, right? Everyone's fingerprints are different. We all have different fingerprints, but it's almost like a map.
Absolutely. If even just the fingerprints are unique, think about the variation in the whole hand.
Yes.
Every line, and every line has ages along it, so that when you see something on the line, you can tell what age. Like if I saw something on the heart line, under the heart, here's the finger that rules the heart, and here's the heart line. If I'd know they had heart trouble, that's for sure. You can see things on the headline and you'll understand mental states. You can see how the lines are shaped. You can see the lifeline to see what doesn't know how long one lives, the lifeline. It shows how long energy is a gift. And when there are disruptions, and the hand, I call it God's roadmap, because it's to show us, first of all, what we've got set up for us as of now. If you like it, you can go for it. If you don't like it, you work to change it or mitigate. And we can. That's the amazing things. we can become partners with our own evolution. And
isn't it true, for example, when you shake someone's hand, right? You know, sometimes they have a firm handshake, or sometimes they have a soft handshake, or the hand feels soft, or the hand feels rugged or calloused.
Marissa, you've got it right on the nail, right on the button, because we can tell things from the first moment we touch a hand. How someone shakes your hand and interacts with you. You know, some are like limp little fish in your hand, and they don't really want to be there with you.
Right.
We get some hands make us feel really creepy just to touch. Like others are so there, warm, solid. Others are too hard. They are like too firm, and you know there's too much energy, and they are not tuned into who are you, because they could crush you. Some people actually, luckily not that often, but occasionally someone really actually hurts you. And you, oh God, am I sorry I ever wanted to shake this hand. You can tell. And also we look at everything in the hand. We start really with, it's considered normal just for a hand to be able, the more flexible the hand, the more flexible the mind. Before you even start to read the palm, I like to test out certain things. First of all, you feel the skin right here on the back of the hand. You don't feel the palm, but you feel right here. And the fineness of the skin, we say the finer the skin, the finer the nature, you can tell the natural degree of refinement in your subject. And money and social position has nothing to do with it. There are some people in a very nice position or with good amounts of money, but they're crude. If that skin is crude, they're crude. If the skin is fine and they are very humble, you know that when you went into their home, everything would be made as pleasing and charming and possible, because there's a natural refinement. And then there's medium grade. One thing about the hand is you learn to judge. Is it harsh? Is it medium? Is it fine? And we'll see this even in lines when we see, are they deep cut? Are they finely cut? Are they broken? And we can see there is a line for heart and emotions, both the physical heart and emotions. There is an energy line. And as you could even see in mine comes in two parts. It's here. So some people might say, oh, do I have a short lifeline? No, it's that it may jump out and show you another one. Of course, my life changed in those years. It includes more people, new things, and you can see people's lines can jump out or jump in. Sometimes when they retire, a lifeline makes a new line, the energy line, and jumps inward to show they're not going to be out there in the world so much. They're not going to engage with so many people, but we are hoping for people to have a nice roundness, and that the ball of the thumb is known. Each one of these paddings, the fingers and around the hand, they're called a mount or a mountain. They raise up. We think of this as the lines are like rivers of energy. These are the mountains, and the ones that are the fullest have the most real estate in the brain. As I said, there are more nerves between hand and brain than any other part of the nervous system. And when you see something full here, there is a corresponding thing, part of the brain right in here that is equally well developed. Is it a mystery? How come? Yeah, it's like filled with mysteries. Absolutely. Fascinating mysteries. But one thing we can see about the hand is it lets us know that the higher forces really care about how we're doing and want to give us information to make the best life possible. Because, like, depending on what is the fullest of the paddings, and, well, I'm sorry to have to say this because I don't want to seem like I'm pushing my book. My book is number one in its field, and I don't care if I sell any more, although I want people to have this information.
Oh, well, to me, it's a reference book. I mean, I feel like it's a reference book. And I mean, maybe I'm biased because
Marisa B, hear that.
maybe I'm biased because I know, and I knew this a long time since I was much younger, that you actually were the palmist who read Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I knew that. And yes, I read an article about it many years ago. I knew you read his palm. I knew that there were photographs.
Boy, did that ever make my family stop saying, Ellen, you're a social worker. Ellen, you sent me to college. And when they saw me on the back page of the New York Times reading Muhammad Ali's palm, they went, oh, maybe she's actually got something there.
And what a palm it must have been. I could just imagine. You can see everything.
Some things, it was simple. It was not a hand. You know, some hands have many lines. Some hands have the people who have every line is something the mind remembers. So when hands have many lines, those are people who are so sensitive and they remember everything and carry everything around with them. When it's very few, just the basics. Things come and go and they let them go. Doesn't mean they're not deep people. And he had only the major lines, but what was another thing is we press hands to see, we're always pressing to see, are they soft? Are they resilient? Do they bounce back? Muhammad Ali's was as hard as wood. You could not press it. It was like an oak table.
Wow.
The harder the hand, the more vital life force. His was over the top. And yet he was a very sweet man. I remember it was by chance. I was hired to read at a charity he gave for a children's hospital, and he was sponsoring it. And I was just to go from table to table and read, and I had a great old time. And suddenly I was sitting at a table, and there was an empty chair, and Muhammad Ali sat down next to me. This was just like, wow. So before you knew it, we were reading hands, and he was so interested, he took my magnifying glass. I probably don't even have that great old magnifying glass here, but not that one either. But I took my magnifying glass. He took it out of my hand and
to see,
and it was wonderful. And of course, because it was in the New York Times, that really happened. It didn't make my future because they printed my name wrong and no one. They said Goldman instead of Goldberg. It didn't matter because I wasn't ready for that kind of thing. I needed to really build my work. I was still quite young then. Now I'm 78. I must have been 38, something like that in that age. So, but everything came in its own good time. So I'm very happy.
And as I said, I mean, you're internationally renowned. I know you've taught in Asia. You've been in Asia. You've had groups in Asia. Yes.
When I would give these lectures, you never know who was there. And so I was invited to come and teach in China. And I went for 2 weeks and gave a course. And it was great. People, it was a giant room, was filled. People flew in from all over China because they don't get this very often. It was tarot. It was the first time tarot had been taught there since the Iron Curtain had come down. And now it was just lifted, and some of these esoteric things were allowed.
Yes, historic times, right? Historic times. You were there.
Very lucky.
Yes, because I knew that I recalled hearing that it was the first time that they were allowing this for people to go and learn.
for you to do that research, Marissa. And I am delighted that you are interested in palmistry. And I look forward to when you and I will meet in
Yes.
person sometime.
Yes.
I'm going to look at your hand.
Yes. Oh, I know. I would love. Oh my gosh, I would love that. I mean, knowing about your background, knowing that you were one of the foremost authorities in palmistry, I studied a lot, and I even built up courage because I was asked at the State University of New York, New Paltz. They wanted me to do a talk on palmistry, and I went and I did it science or pseudoscience, but what science can tell us about our hands, because there's a lot science can tell us.
There is a lot. Isn't it amazing that science and things that we call esoteric can blend and
Mm-hmm.
share so much? The hand is a real crossover because totally it's esoteric, and it's like a part of what I consider everyday magic, because the world is filled with magic and enchantment. And how mystical is it that the hand is going to tell you things that your conscious mind could not know? Now, it doesn't say the same things for everybody.
Right.
Certain things, almost every hand is going to have a headline, a heart line, lifeline. Then less hands, but at least 60% will have a line coming up the center, middle finger coming this way, the line of fate, which will tell various things. If you do have a line of Saturn or line of fate, lines often have more than one name, then you will be given warnings in advance of the times when you have some of the best time to go for whatever is important to you, or times when you need to hold back and say, I'm going to be very careful with my money, and I'm saving in advance to get past this 5-year period that's written here. Or you have the chance to take a conscious part in your own evolution and change the line through things like affirmation, influencing the mind and the subconscious, actions which show you that you can do things differently to prepare in another way. The hand is there to help you make the best experience possible of your life, because depending on what parts are developed, it shows you where natural talents lie. And there may be natural talents that a person has, but frequently are, that they did not know, that the mind would just open to them in a minute like a flower in bloom. And other places, they show you, oh yeah, I always had trouble with this. Well, look, this part of the hand is not well developed. And then okay, it's not going to really develop, but I know how to ask for help there. We learn where to get help, ask for it. We know where we can shine. And it's so useful. It shows you the universe wants us to have the best experience possible.
So true, right? So true. And it's funny because we all have certain lines that are similar, but yet they're not similar.
They're not similar.
We're all on different paths.
That's right. Almost everybody's got a lifeline, but what that lifeline looks like, we call it the character of the line, things that happen by learning the age system of the line. And I will toot my own horn. I'm pretty darn good at ages on lines, and I put my age system into the book for each line, so that when you see a mark or a break or a star or anything that happens, or the line suddenly looks way better or way worse, you know what age that's going to be. And you can tell people, look, during this time you have to put forth twice the effort, or save your money in advance and glide through it in another way. But at least you'll see what's coming. And to watch the hand change by your own effort.
Now I'm sure that everybody listening is like, oh, I want my palm read. And of course, how could that be? Because people are listening all over the world. But I know you have courses that you do offer, and it's actually live. I mean, I know you record them, but live, because palmistry is a little bit different.
Live, but we're recording it.
Right.
It's the very same thing. But I also, yes, the courses are good. Both I have a whole tarot course and I have an entire course. And well, and when I get around to doing another live one, like there will be a live tarot course come the fall, people can always just write to me or Google my name and Google Ellen Goldberg. They'll find all kinds.
And I'll put all the information, especially the courses, I'll put it all in the notes section for today's show, because I'm sure people are going to be contacting me to find out how they can reach you. And tell me a little bit about the tarot now, because of course you're also an expert in tarot, and you're writing a book. You're in the middle of writing the book, correct?
Writing a book. And although I've been doing it for ages and ages, I'm 78 and I started studying these things in my late 20s. So by 28, so we can say 50 years, I've been studying these things. And I was very lucky to have attended a little school. And that school no longer exists. But it's the way with mystical schools. They come, they exist for a little while. And this school was called Inner Vision. And I took a course. And once I took one course, I took every course that little school offered. And they made me the assistant to the palmistry teacher, even though I begged, please let me go with the tarot teacher. Asked for me also, and how I adore the tarot. And the head of the school, wise woman that she was, said, "Oh no, you love tarot. You'll always do tarot. I don't have to worry about you. But if I don't put you with the palmistry teacher, you're in danger of dropping that subject."
Wow.
And so she said,
interesting.
"You're nothing. If you want an assistantship, that's all I'm offering." And so I did. And you know what happened? 2 or 3 months into the assistantship, the teacher inherited a house and moved 100 miles away. And suddenly I had to be the teacher.
Oh, wow.
And I rose to the occasion by leaving my job as a social worker. Oh, God. And just going for it. And it turns out I could do it. I was good at it. And I adored it. I'm so grateful to that Vera Scott Johnson forcing me to go with the palmistry teacher. Is the best thing that ever happened to me. And of course, she was right. I adore tarot. So I never let that go. And here I am writing a book. There is no good book on the minor arcana, the 56 cards of the minor arcana.
So true. So true, right? Mostly they write about the major arcana. That's so true. Oh, that'll be interesting.
Life left a little space for me. And I'm having so much fun with this book, writing it. And so it'll be in a year, it'll be out, but it will be, I'm so grateful, of worth for the tarot literature. So,
and we thank you for doing it. We thank you for doing it. It's going to be so interesting.
And so
very interesting. Yes.
I just want to say, because I know we don't have so much time. All right. Is this an hour that we have together, or do we have more time?
Yes. Why? No. Everybody talks at their own pace. So depending on the subject.
Well, then I just want to say that people can learn to read their own hand, and it will reflect back to each person so much, even if you've just started here with it, and already you know things to look for in hands from day one. Oh, I have 50 free videos on reading palmistry on YouTube. Just Google me on Howcast. I have a miniature course. I have my long course,
Mm-hmm.
which is tuition, but I have a miniature course.
Oh.
Very clear and very good. You just
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I'm going to watch it myself. Yes. And I definitely will put it out there.
are Ellen Goldberg free videos, and I have 50 free ones on tarot and 50 free ones on palmistry. I gave
Oh,
because
how
that
generous.
feature, I gave a miniature but complete free course in each subject. And so anyone can have them. And for those who feel moved to go deeper, why, you can Google my long course or the tuition-based course, but you can get an enormous amount from the 2 free courses that are
No,
already.
thank you for letting us know about that. That's wonderful. I definitely am going to look into it myself.
Oh, hooray, Marisa.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, once again, another confession. I heard you speak at the New School many years ago. And it was absolutely wonderful. Of course, packed. I was a peon in the back, but I hung on every word that you said. And it was packed that evening. I went with a friend and it was wonderful. Wonderful. And I was so thrilled that we could get in because it was sold out shortly after.
I see. These schools like Open Center and New School, sometimes they'd hire me and it would be standing room only. And I thought, look how hungry people are. These esoteric things that are actually available to us. People want it. And so it gave me tremendous courage to just do what I felt was right in being a spokesperson to make sure that this information is available in an accessible, easy to understand form. And a great place for anyone to start would be with my free courses on Howcast. And if they want to go deeper, they'll contact me and then arrange and buy my other courses in segments.
Oh, nice.
4 semesters long, each of them, 12 lessons a semester, an hour and a half to 2 hours for each class. Then I really go in depth beyond what I might do in 10 minutes in the course, but then I do the same thing except in depth.
And I definitely will put all that in the notes so people know where to contact you. There'll be no problem with that. I want to thank you for coming today. I know you're very busy working on your new book. And I'm so thrilled that you were able to come and speak with my audience here. I thank you, Ellen.
If you ever want me to come back and talk about tarot or this,
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I can't wait myself for the book. I can't. It's going to be really interesting. The Minor Arcana. A lot to learn there.
A lot to learn, but it will be a reference book and you can just look it up. You look it up. I looked things up. I wanted to just say to people, don't ever be embarrassed to look it up. Why, even as a professional, you could say, let's make sure and see what blah, blah, blah says. And you could look things up in tarot or in palmistry, because what matters is that your subject or your client gets the information. People appreciate when you go that extra step and say, let's see what another expert says. So, yeah, look them up and have fun, right? Isn't it fun learning things?
Yes.
And looking then at hands of people you know and feeling them and seeing how they can be flexible. And, we test everything, even from the little digits of the fingers. Because you've had my book, I cover everything.
Yes.
Bit.
It truly is a reference book. Truly is a reference book.
Yes. And a friendly reference book is it's easy to read. And so I wish everyone could learn to read hands. And even when you just know a little, looking at the hands of the people you know, of your friends and family, is more fun than anything, because that you get to learn and say, I know that. I know that about the bar. Oh, now I understand. Like, why they're like this. It just
Well,
gives
once
you,
again, I thank you
oh, my pleasure. I
for
know
letting
that.
me know all the knowledge that you've imparted today. I thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we will
And
definitely have you back on with the
great.
tarot book. Absolutely.
And you are not far from me. I am mostly full-time now in Woodstock.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. Maybe I'll have
Yeah.
to make an appointment to have my palm read
100%.
when
And
you're free.
so much fun to come this way. I'll make space for you. I have 400 people on a waiting list, but
I'm sure you do. That's why I said that they need to know about your courses, because otherwise people will definitely be trying to reach you for personal readings.
that's
So,
fine.
but again, Ellen, thank you, and hope to speak with you soon.
Oh, we will. Marissa, I'm glad we know each other now.
Thank
Everything.
you. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. I will. Everything good to you. Bye-bye
Thank you.
then.
Bye now.